Welcome back to Wake Up America. I'm Allison Maloney. With records continuing to be broken across the country regarding positive COVID cases, people try to look ahead as what our relationship to COVID could look like and just how we can transition instead of the pandemic. And all of this while grappling mandates, possible new variants, and a shortage of COVID testing. Here to break it all down is internist at Northwell Health, Dr. Frank Contessa. Dr. Frank, welcome back to Wake Up America Weekend.
Morning, Allison. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. So, Doctor, the Omicron variant, it's completely changed what we knew about COVID. Why do you think we don't hear more about herd immunity?
Well, I think, the fear porn industry and the media and even some arms of the government, there's an advantage to keeping this going. It certainly sells newspapers and keeps people tuned in, but people's attitudes are changing. At least I'm seeing that in my practice. The fear that people used to get when getting a diagnosis of COVID is starting to dissipate just a little bit as they start to see that their friends and family had COVID recently and, they were sick for a couple of days and they're getting better. So I think that fear, like, oh, my God, I have COVID, is starting to be like, OK, I got it now. Good. I'm going to get it over with.
Yeah.
And let's move on. So I think people's attitudes are starting to change.
Yeah, I think you're right, because a lot of people I know, they're like, okay, well, I got it, so now I'm good. I should be healthy for a while. We're still seeing a lack of testing, right? I was walking into some stores. They have the big signs that say, we have no COVID tests available. Biden just signed the first contract for free COVID-19 test distribution. But do you think that's too little, too late?
Yeah, probably. I think by the time these tests arrive, the Omicron wave will probably start to dissipate a little bit. I'm expecting in the next couple of weeks that will start to plateau and maybe decrease a little bit, at least based on the pattern from South Africa and other parts of the world where they're already on the downswing in a big way. So it might be a little bit too little, too late. People are still having trouble getting tests. It's almost irrelevant now. For the vast majority of people, this is such a mild illness. They're sick for a few days. If you have a cold right now, there's a good chance you have Omicron. So a confirmatory test isn't really clinically useful.
Yeah, and some of those tests, doctor, they can give you a false positive. They could give you a false negative. I took a couple of tests when I started to get sick and they were negative, and then 2 days later it was positive. So I think people are getting false results. Many schools, they're starting to go remote again. We've got colleges, we have local schools that are doing that. Do you think that this is really necessary?
I don't. Do we do this during cold and flu season every winter? Right. When we start to see kids, drop like flies with colds and flus? No, kids need to be in school. I mean, I heard you guys were talking at the top of the hour about, the unintended consequences of depression and suicide. The kids need to be in school with their friends and seeing their teachers' faces when they learn. No, we need to get, like you said, towards an endemic standpoint rather than a pandemic with panic. This is part of our lives now forever. So everyone needs to start to realize that and get back to their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. New York is one of many examples of mandates and boosters, right? So Governor Kathy Hochul, she's mandated boosters for all SUNY college students. We keep hearing about boosters. I mean, there could be a potential another booster. What is your opinion for mandated boosters, especially for college students? Most of them are generally healthy.
Well, first of all, boosters for college kids make zero sense. Makes zero sense. If we're going to use these resources, let's focus on the people that need them, the elderly, nursing home populations, immunocompromised. Those are the people that need boosters. Healthy young college kids do not. The death rate for a healthy college kid from COVID is close to zero. And don't forget, we're not doing anything to stop the spread of COVID with these boosters. How many people have been double vaccinated, had a booster, and now they have COVID? So the argument of you need to get boosted so that you don't give it to the kid sitting next to you in class has collapsed. It's completely collapsed. So I'm against that. And I'm against really mandates of any kind. I'm an advocate for medical autonomy, meaning that doctors and their patients working collaboratively make decisions together based on risks and benefits. Broad-based mandates from the government at any level, I'm completely against. People need to be able to make their own decisions. Broad-based vaccination of the whole population and boosting isn't really helping. We're looking to other countries to see what's going on. Israel is now have started their fourth shot. Mm-hmm. It's not really working.
You're right. It's not working. And we see more and more people out of jobs, healthcare workers, because for whatever their own personal reason, they don't want to get vaccinated and they're being told they have to. In New York.
Or because they've already had COVID. So
Right.
many healthcare workers have already had COVID and they're deciding, you know what, I really don't think I want to take any more vaccine because it keeps going up anyway.
Yeah.
And there's a vaccine fatigue that's going to happen with people now too. Once you start to see, hey, I got my second shot and I got my third and I'm still getting it. How many more do you want me to get?
Right.
And people are going to start to trail off and say, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah. And then, then you have colleges telling the students they have to get vaccinated. And then, if you come into New York, I can't bring my kids into a restaurant because they're not vaccinated. We got to eat outside. I do want to quickly get to this this variant that we're hearing about out of France. It's called the IHU variant. It's a Delta Cron. We've got Florana. Any variants of these concerns? Look, I know you've said it, other doctors have said, we're going to see variants. It's part of our life, right?
We're absolutely going to see these going forward, time after time. I've been reading as much as I can about these new variants. There's little data. There's nothing to suggest that they're going to be more, at least more transmissible or more deadly than what we're seeing now. Matter of fact, Omicron is so transmissible. I don't see anything in the near future overtaking it. It swept Delta off the map in a matter of weeks. So I don't foresee that right now. Let's just look towards, one step in front of the other for now. I'm not looking towards these new variants yet.
All right. Good to know. We appreciate everything. Dr. Frank Contessessa, have a great weekend, sir. Thank you.
You too. Thanks so much.
Of course. Coming up after the break.